severe trauma and pressure turn this female animator into someone who uses human flesh as stop-motion objects. The film begins by showing a woman named Ella who is busy taking shots for her stop-motion animation film while being guided by her mother, Suzanne. Suzanne is a senior animator in stop-motion animation films. Stop-motion is an animation technique used to make inanimate objects appear to move by photographing physical objects frame by frame, where the objects are moved slightly between each frame. Currently, the work is being handled by Ella because Suzanne suffers from arthritis, which makes it difficult for her to move her hands. Ella carefully moves the objects in the film and photographs every movement. However, after finishing the film, Suzanne is not satisfied with the result and asks Ella to remake the film she has already worked on.
Same direction. Little, not too much. Head left 2 millimeters. We need to do it again. It's not working.
Suzanne is a perfectionist, which is why she does not tolerate even the slightest mistake. This naturally makes Ella feel pressured. During dinner, Ella bravely suggests to Suzanne that they should make a film with a new idea. But the next day, when Suzanne asks about Ella's idea, she suddenly becomes hesitant to share it and instead decides to calm her mind by going to a club with her boyfriend named Tom. It turns out that at that time their friends are discussing the latest stop-motion animation film made by Tom's sister named Polly.
Oh, it's really good. This one's new. Last year, the client was a bitch.
Long story short, Ella quickly rushes home before her mother finds out. She has just arrived home and is about to go to sleep when Suzanne suddenly tells her to wake up and continue working on the unfinished film. Suzanne then tells Ella that this stop-motion film must be finished before she dies. Suzanne knows that her illness is getting worse and that this will be her final work. In the middle of the stop-motion process, a sudden electrical short circuit occurs. However, when Ella's about to check the power outlet, Suzanne unexpectedly forbids her and tells Ella to stay where she is.
Leave it. Back to where you were. Don't you dare. Put your hands on the puppet. Don't you dare move.
Mom?
The scene then shifts, showing Suzanne who has fallen into a coma due to a stroke. This makes Ella extremely sad. Tom then offers Ella to stay at his place, but Ella refuses. Ella says that she wants to finish her mother's final work. After Ella finishes taking a shower at Tom's house, she suddenly sees the figure of her mother lying on the floor. Then suddenly her mother's body transforms into a pile of fresh, raw meat. The next day, accompanied by Tom, Ella finds a new place to live in a quiet apartment where she can focus more on working on her stop-motion film. While she is busy moving her belongings, Ella runs into a mysterious little girl whom we will call Jenny. After that, Ella begins the process of making her animation film. However, for some reason, Ella feels doubtful and anxious when she is about to start. When Ella intends to leave the apartment to calm herself, Jenny suddenly appears and asks to see what Ella is working on.
Can I see? What's all that stuff?
It's called stop-motion animation.
Ella then explains that she's a stop-motion animator and that she is currently making an animation film about a cyclops. However, Jenny thinks the story is very boring. While shaping a new object out of wax, Jenny suggests creating a story about a frightened girl who gets lost in the woods and is chased by a figure called Ashman. However, Ella does not respond to the suggestion because her goal is to finish her mother's final work.
It's a bit boring. Make a new one. I know a better story. There's a girl in the woods. She's scared because she's lost. There's someone coming.
That night, Ella accidentally falls asleep and has a strange dream where she seems to be in a forest. When she wakes up the next morning, Ella is shocked to see that the animation objects made by her mother have been destroyed and the diorama set has been changed into a forest, similar to the one in her dream. The main object has also changed, replaced by a wax doll of a girl. We will call this wax doll Lily. In addition, there is already a piece of film from the girl's story that is exactly the same as the idea Jenny described. After seeing the result, Ella becomes interested in continuing the story because she finds it very intriguing. The next day, Ella throws away her mother's Cyclops diorama set and objects because she has come up with a new idea for her own film. Not long after that, Polly comes to visit Ella to check on her condition. Polly becomes interested in the stop-motion project that Ella is working on. Because of that, Polly offers to help with the production of the animation film. However, Ella does not immediately give any response to Polly.
I came to see you, actually. What are you doing in there?
Can I come in?
Oh, okay. You should come in for a chat. This might be good for something we're doing.
For adverts.
Not long after Polly leaves, Jenny comes back to Ella's apartment. Jenny looks at the stop-motion animation that Ella has just made and suggests that the Lily object should be made to look more realistic. Then Jenny walks to Ella's kitchen and suggests that the Lily object should be made from raw meat. At first, Ella hesitates to do what Jenny suggests, but because Jenny insists that Lily should be made from meat, Ella eventually agrees. While making the new Lily object and the Ashman object using pieces of raw meat, Ella also listens to Jenny's story for the next scene where Lily will hide inside a red room that only contains a table, a chair, and a chest. Ashman will come for 3 nights and knock on the door of the house. After that, Ella also adds ashes to the body of the Ashman object. Once everything is ready, Ella begins making the continuation of her animation film. That night, Ella calls Tom and asks him to keep her stop-motion film project a secret from Polly. While she is sleeping, Ella wakes up after hearing a knock on the door. When she opens it, Jenny is there and invites her to go to the nearby forest. There, Jenny shows her the carcass of a fox that she'd found earlier and once again suggests that the film's object should be made from the freshly dead fox. However, Ella refuses because the suggestion sounds crazy and excessive. Since her wish is not followed, Jenny refuses to continue the story she had previously created.
It needs to be made out of something dead. You can make an arm trowel with the bones. Oh, come on.
No.
I won't tell you the next bit of the story then. Do it without me then.
From that moment on, Ella tries to think of the continuation of the story on her own, but she cannot come up with any ideas. This frustrates her because she realizes that she has always depended on other people to act. Not long after that, Ella visits Suzanne in the hospital and apologizes because she cannot finish the film. She realizes that she still needs guidance from other people to do something, like a puppet that is moved by someone else. After that, Ella goes to a nightclub with Tom. There, feeling desperate, Ella finally asks Polly for illegal drugs so that she can come up with ideas for the continuation of her animation film. At the same time, Ella also responds to Polly's offer of collaboration by rejecting it. While walking around the club, Ella sees a man with a wound on his head after being hit with a liquor bottle. Without hesitation, Ella suddenly touches the man's wound, and it turns out that the one guiding her hand to touch the man is Jenny. Immediately, Ella leaves the club while following Jenny into the forest. Ella realizes that she needs Jenny to guide her in finishing the film. Following Jenny's earlier instruction, Ella takes the fox carcass and then takes its meat, fur, bones, and teeth to create the Ashman object. After that, Jenny continues the story where on the first night, Lily is finally found by Ashman. While the frame shooting process is taking place, Ella feels disturbed by someone repeatedly pressing the doorbell of her apartment.
And the Ashman's coming.
Ella eventually checks outside and sees a terrifying figure moving toward her room. The next day, Ella wakes up because Tom comes to the apartment. Ella immediately tells Tom about her animation object, Ashman, which she believes has become real. However, Tom thinks that Ella is only hallucinating because of drugs. But in reality, Ella has not taken any drugs at all. When Ella checks the continuation of her animation film, she is shocked because the story is very similar to what she experienced the previous night. This makes Ella want to leave the place immediately. While taking a shower at Tom's house, Ella once again hallucinates and sees her thigh turning into wax. That night, while sleeping, Ella dreams that she is back in her apartment. Suddenly, the lily object becomes alive and moves toward Ella's leg. The object then tears open her leg, but because it is only a dream, Ella cannot move her body. The next day, while Ella is having lunch with Tom at a restaurant, Jenny unexpectedly appears there. Jenny then asks Ella whether she is not curious about the continuation of the animation film. Jenny tells the next part of the story, where on the second night, Ashman manages to break into Lily's hiding place and touches her. Even after hearing the continuation of the story, Ella still refuses to continue making the stop-motion animation film.
Don't you want to hear the next bit of the story? On the second night, he touches her.
I've changed my mind. I don't want to make this film anymore.
This decision makes Ella begin thinking about her future, because as a stop-motion animator, she needs to create animation films in order to earn money. Tom then offers Ella a job at an animation company where Polly also works as a stop-motion animator. However, instead of being asked to help create animation scenes, Ella is assigned to make eyeballs for objects that will be used in a stop-motion animation. While making those eyeballs, a man who works there suddenly tells Ella that he admires Suzanne as a legendary stop-motion animator. The man says that he is jealous of Ella because she is the daughter of such a legend. However, Ella does not really respond to what the man says. After finishing her work, Ella looks for Polly. When she enters the room where Polly is working, Ella is shocked to see that Polly has copied her story idea. Polly claims that she only used it as inspiration. Feeling angry because her idea has been stolen, Ella immediately loses control and begins destroying the diorama set and the stop-motion objects.
These are pictures of my film.
It's a mood board.
For reference.
It's mine.
After that, Ella visits her mother at the hospital. There she tells Suzanne about her experience of seeing her animation objects move on their own and even chase her. Suddenly, Suzanne, who is in a coma, appears to wake up and talk to her, but it is clear that the moment is only Ella's hallucination. In the conversation, Suzanne says that Ella's imagination is very unnatural and describes her like a puppet that must be moved by someone else and then placed back into a box after it has finished being played with. In other words, Suzanne believes that Ella is incapable of making her own decisions and always depends on other people.
Such a morbid imagination. You're a puppet. You can't control anything. If they're play, they're put back in the box. I'm the one living my life. Poor puppet.
After that, Ella returns to her apartment to continue working on her animation film with Jenny. Just as she is about to begin, Ella feels a vibration, and suddenly the figure of Ashman appears in the real world. When Ella tries to run away, she seems to turn into a wax puppet and quickly hides inside a crack in the wall. The gap is very small, so only Ashman's hand can reach inside. At first, Ella tries to escape through a hole leading to another room, but because the hole is too small, she cannot get away from Ashman's pursuit. After being captured by Ashman, he vomits an egg and forces it into Ella's mouth. The next day, Ella wakes up in the hospital covered in wounds with a deep cut on her thigh. The nurse explains that Ella was found wandering around the area near her apartment building. This is very strange because as far as Ella remembers, she was only inside her apartment. Not long after that, Tom comes to visit her. Seeing that Ella is acting increasingly strange, Tom forbids her from continuing her work and says that he will throw away all of the diorama sets and animation objects she has made. Ella stops Tom and says that she will destroy the project herself because she is the one who started it and she should also be the one to end it.
And delete the whole fucking thing.
Don't you dare. No. Just let me do it. I need to be the one to end it.
Not long after that, Ella receives the news that her mother has passed away. Her mother's death makes Ella extremely sad. Suddenly, Jenny appears again and asks Ella to finish the animation film. In the end, Ella goes with Jenny back to her apartment. When they arrive, Ella suddenly kills Jenny because she believes Jenny has been disturbing her too much. But unexpectedly, Jenny comes back to life. Jenny then tells Ella to replace the animation objects with ones made from fresh meat. Following Jenny's instruction, Ella opens the stitches on her thigh and takes pieces of her own flesh to use as material for a new animation object. As all of this happens, all of the animation objects created by Ella suddenly come to life and watch her. Shortly afterward, Tom and Polly arrive at Ella's apartment. They are shocked to see the horrifying things Ella is doing. They quickly try to stop her and plan to take her to the hospital. Jenny then influences Ella again by telling her that Tom and Polly are planning to ruin her stop-motion animation film. Hearing this, Ella suddenly becomes aggressive and kills them both.
They're gonna ruin this! You're bleeding, Ella!
Unexpectedly, Ella seems to enjoy what she has just done. After killing Tom and Polly, Ella takes their flesh and organs to use as materials for her animation objects. The new animation objects she creates resemble Lily and Ashman, but in a much larger size. Suddenly, the Ashman object begins to move and approaches Ella. Ella hides inside a closet and the Ashman object follows her.
What's he doing?
For some reason, Ella's body begins to turn into wax. Ella then allows Ashman to eat her head. At the same time, the egg that Ella swallowed earlier is shown again, and now the egg has cracked. Then the scene shifts, showing Ella walking through the forest toward a building. When she enters the building, the walls are red, and inside there are a chair, a table, and a chest that look exactly like the diorama set from her stop-motion animation film. There, Jenny is seen watching a video that shows Ella lying on the ground while blood continues to flow from her wounded thigh. Jenny reveals that she likes the result of Ella's stop-motion animation film. With a smile on her face, Ella then climbs into the chest. Now I will explain several points in this film. From the beginning, Ella suffers from mental problems caused by Suzanne's behavior, which placed a great deal of pressure on her life. From childhood until adulthood, Ella was always ordered by Suzanne to do whatever she wanted. This made Ella grow up into someone who could not make her own decisions. Ella became like a puppet that had to be controlled by Suzanne or by someone else. When Suzanne falls into a coma, Ella loses her sense of direction because there is no longer anyone telling her what to do. At that moment, Ella's inner child is finally released and appears as Jenny. In reality, Ella is a creative person who has many ideas, but she was never able to express them to her mother because she was afraid of being wrong. The ideas that she never expressed simply piled up inside her mind. After her inner child, or Jenny, is freed, those accumulated ideas turn into extreme and disturbing ideas. However, because Ella has never been used to acting on her own will, she cannot believe that the stop-motion film is truly her own work. At this point, Jenny keeps pushing Ella to finish her stop-motion film and even drives her to commit irrational actions that eventually lead to the murder of the people closest to her. Ella's inner child even encourages her to create animation objects using the flesh and organs of Tom and Polly. The reason Ella always uses fresh meat to create her objects is to make the animation look more real and alive. At the end of the story, it is explained that Ella is represented by Lily, while Suzanne is represented by Ashman, showing how Ella is constantly chased and haunted by the strict rules and upbringing imposed by Suzanne. The egg that Ashman spits out and forces Ella to swallow symbolizes the trauma and pressure Suzanne placed on her. When Ella's wild inner child finally takes control of her mind, the egg cracks, symbolizing the destruction of the trauma and pressure she once felt. The scene where Ella climbs into the chest symbolizes how she is seen as a puppet that has finished being played with and is finally placed back inside the chest. At the end of the film, it is clear that Ella has died from severe blood loss, and the story comes to an end.